Alright, hey now. So this video we're going to be doing a comparison and review of the Powermatic II Plus cigarette injector. It's the most popular electric injector. A lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of reviews about this on YouTube. It's the go-to for the electric cigarette injector. And we're going to compare that to the Poweroll 2 by Top-O-Matic. It's a little dark in here. The Poweroll 2, I haven't seen any videos on I've seen videos on YouTube, but they're all in foreign language, and I can't understand them, and they're really short. So I figured I'd do a review of this thing. I guess it's pretty new. The original Poweroll has mixed reviews. A lot of people say it jams a lot. A lot of people say that it's you know, they don't last long. I don't know. That's one of the problems with the electric machines. It's the reason I have two, is that they seem to go out after about a year or two. Before I started with these electric machines, the first thing I started with, and I guess the first thing most people start with, is this guy. It's your little handheld plastic local cigarette injector. Now, I started with this. This actually belonged to my dad. It recently passed away. It's one of the things I brought home to remember him by. And then I was down at a convenience store, and I saw that they sold the pipe tobacco in the tubes. And I'm like, you know, I got this thing at home. Let me try this. I can't afford smoking anymore, so I got to do something. So I got a little bag of Gambler Red, Gambler tubes, brought it home, used this thing. Choked me to death. It was terrible. I didn't think I was going to survive. Not only was it really harsh, it also, cherries dropping off. And I've had 2 houses burned down. I have a fear of that, and I'm like, I can't have this. I guess I'm not going to be able to do the stuff you're on. So I come home and I watched a few videos on it, and I learned that this thing's garbage. You know, everybody starts with it. It's probably why the stuff you're on hasn't really caught on. And just toss it. I'm going to keep it because it was my dad's, but I don't use it anymore. So I learned that what you need is a proper injector. So I got the number one injector out there is the Top-O-Matic little hand crank machine. You've seen it. And it works great. It's a wonderful little machine. I learned that don't buy tobacco from a convenience store. Get it online or from a tobacco shop. So I ordered some Ohm, some Good Stuff, and some smoker-friendly brand. The smoker-friendly, not smoker-friendly, smokersoutlet.com. They sell all kinds of this kind of stuff. And so I ordered a few different types of tobacco, bunch of different kinds of tubes, found what I like. I like the blue. To tell you the truth, I like the Smoker's Outlet brand, but I also like the Ohm very well. So I started with that, and I figured I like the red tubes as opposed to the lights, you know, the blues or the silvers. So I smoked Pall Mall 100s before I started doing this. I was trying to get as close as I could to that. I figured red and red go together to make a red 100. No, it didn't work out that way. The red's too harsh for me. The 100s, the Top-O-Matic stuffed them pretty well, but it didn't stuff them perfectly. So we'll get back around to that. So I found that I like the blue with the red filters, so that's what I do. I like the Zins and the Golden Harvest tubes is what I ended up with. I also like the Berettas. They're pretty good, but we're gonna for this video we're gonna be using Golden Harvest and Smoker's Outlet brand blue tobacco. It's really good. I like it. I also like their natural brand. So let's get around to that. Let's get these out of the box, and we're going to start with the Powermatic 2, do a little review, and we'll get right back to that. Okay, here's the Powermatic 2. It's ready to go. It's a little dark in here, and this camera's not great with low light, so I'll put some white paper down on my little TV dinner tray. It's one of those little trays you get for your lap, so you can eat dinner on the couch. I usually do this on the couch, but for this video, I'm going to have to improvise. So the Powermatic 2 has the little handle on it, and it comes with a little hopper you can put right there. And it also comes with a little tamper, a little tamper, so if you get stuck If you get stuck up, you can just stick it in there, clean it out. Comes with a brush so you can clean it, and a little pipe cleaner so you can clean your pipe, which is all good. You're going to eventually need all these things. So let's get around to it. Let's start out with Kings. We got the Golden Harvest regular red Kings. If I can get the box open, we'll do a few of these. So let's throw some tubes down. I'm sorry, I'm ill prepared for this. I don't do a whole lot of YouTube videos. Let's go ahead and get the hundreds out too, because we're gonna test hundreds on this thing. Also using the Golden Harvest 100s. Okay, that's not the 100s. I already messed up. Editing. They say editing is everything. Okay, so these are the 100s. Golden Harvest 100s. Let's stuff some of those too. Let's get a few of those out. I'm better at video editing than I am shooting videos, so maybe we'll get this right eventually. Okay, I'm using the Smoker's Outlet Blue. What I like to do is grab some tobacco. We're not doing very many here, so we don't need much tobacco. And again, I started out with the handheld little plastic thing. Didn't like it. Ended up with the Top-O-Matic crank machine, which was great. I recommend it. I didn't have any. Only problem I had with that was stuffing hundreds. I ended up just going strictly Kings. And so on to the Powermatic. It does Kings great, as you're about to find out. Stick your tube on, put your tobacco in. Now this thing, some of the electric machines come with a little piece of plastic you tamp it down in with. This, you use your fingers. I find it best just to use your fingers. You stuff it down in there very lightly. You don't really put a lot of pressure in it. Just make sure the edges are filled up in the middle. You just push it down. Oh, I guess it would help if we turn the machine on first. Okay. Now let's try this again. Ready to go? Push it down. Now you heard how that noise was like, that means it stuffed it really good. It's not too tight either. Now see all that stuff sticking out of the end there? That means I stuffed it too much. Now normally what I do is I take a pair of scissors and I just snip that right off, which I don't have on hand. So I used too much tobacco there. I've been using the Poweroll a lot, and there's a difference between the Poweroll and the Powermatic. Okay, let's try this again. Let's not put so much tobacco down there. This doesn't have a setting either for 100s versus Kings, so you really got to figure it out. Did it again. Okay, that one's a little better. Tamp it down a little bit, and there you go. You got a nice cigarette. It's stuffed straight to. A lot of the problems with a lot of these machines and trying to figure it out is it doesn't always put the tobacco all the way to the filter. This, of course, did. This is a perfect cigarette right there. I got carried away with the first one. That's why I pulled out 4, because I knew I was going to mess up. It's performance anxiety. Okay, so put the tube on, some tobacco. Now you can fill this hopper up. Usually I do. I fill it all the way up. But so you guys can see what I'm doing. Doing a little differently there. And another perfect one. Tamp it down a little bit. And there you go. Perfect tube. Perfect cigarette. Filled all the way to the filter. Pull a little bit of tobacco out of the lip there so it doesn't mess up your tube. That happens with this machine too. Sometimes you'll have a little bit sticking out the end. You got to pull it out. No big deal. And pop it down. Oh, see, now we got a jam. Now when it jams, this thing's got jam protection, so it doesn't mess your machine up. When it jams, you'll see that little red light. I just stuffed it too much. And this machine does jam if you overstuff it. This is good tobacco. It's not too dry. It's not too moist. It's actually pretty perfect. So what I like to do is get the tobacco out of those tubes and use it again, but for this video we'll just put that to the side and go to the hundreds. Okay, so we stuffed 3 pretty good kings out of that. We're going to go ahead and clear this out. See, that was the culprit right there. See that little thing right there holding me back? Alright, now let's go with 100. This thing does hundreds okay, but you got to stuff them a little tighter if you want to do 100 as opposed to the kings. So I'm saying this thing takes a little bit of practice and trial and error, but that one actually worked out pretty good. Once we pack that down, it'll be perfect. And it did. Perfect 100. Stuffed all the way to the ends. It's not too tight. Worked out pretty good. Here I was talking junk, and look at that. Ah, see, this thing normally doesn't jam that much. Now, normally what you would do, instead of what I'm doing here, is you take your little tamper rod and stick it down in there and get the stuff out, but I find sometimes you can just, you know, manually. I don't necessarily suggest that you do that because, you know, it is mechanical. It's a machine. It's electric. It will, you know, eventually mess your machine up if you keep doing that. But, you know, what are you going to do? Let's try this again. Tamp it down. Man, pretty good. Perfect 100. This thing's doing 100s better than normal. It might be because I'm doing it differently, sitting back a little further because of the camera. I don't know. I'm really not paying a whole lot of attention. I'm trying to pay more of attention to the production of this video. And that one's stuffed pretty good, but as you can see, it doesn't stuff all the way. Oh, listen to that out there. Something's going down. I don't even live in a city. See, that once I tamp that one all the way down, you get a lot of space there, but you know, it's smokable. So what are you gonna do? It's okay. So we got, you know, and that was pretty quick. I'm not doing a timing, you know, how fast we can do this kind of thing. We're just stuffing cigarettes so you can see how these machines work. And as you see, the Powermatic II works pretty good. Works just as good as a Top-O-Matic crank machine. And it's the thing is, okay, using this machine, a lot of people's like, oh, you know, it's so easy, much easier using an electric machine, and it is, but not so much easier because the Top-O-Matic, you got to crank and you crank it. It's not that big a deal, not a whole lot of force. But this thing, pulling this down, if you can see right here, probably not because it's too dark, but there's a blade right here, and when you pull that down, it's cutting. And I think it's made out of titanium, if I'm not mistaken. So it's cutting the tobacco. And the cutting of the tobacco actually makes this a little hard to push down. Now, if there's no tobacco in it, it's real easy to do. But if it's got tobacco in it, when you push it down, you're actually cutting the tobacco. So there is a little force you got to put down on it. But easy cleanup. You take your brush, you know, clean it out here and there. Yeah, every now and then you're going to want to use your brush and really get down in there and clean it out because it'll make your machine last longer. But we'll get around to that later. I don't use this machine a whole lot. This is my backup basically, but I do like it. I liked it when I got it. I liked it better than the Top-O-Matic. Like I said, I haven't been using it a lot, so I'm kind of like, I forgot how to use it. But it works great. Once you get into it, it takes you about, I don't know, a pack of cigarettes to figure it out, and you got it. So we're going to pause now and move on to the Poweroll, and we'll be right back. Alright, we're back with the Poweroll 2. Got her all ready to go. Turn her on, make sure it's on. Okay, so with this thing, it comes with a brush. It's a little bit fatter and it's white. It also comes with the brush, which is also a little bit longer brush part than the Powermatic II. And it didn't come with the tamper. That's why I got it so cheap. It didn't come with the tamping rod. But I've got one, so, I mean, you can use anything, coat hanger, whatever. But it also comes with this thing. And you find these a lot with the little handheld crank, or the handheld injectors, like this thing. A lot of times one of these will come with it. And I tried to get by it by just using my fingers, and you can use your fingers, but it doesn't work as well, because the little chamber here is so much further down, and it's just a little different. It also has the same thing with the Top-O-Matic crank, fill corners first. I don't really ever pay any attention to that, and it works fine for me. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Let me move these to the side. Let's do a king. So your little tube, as you can see, the tube's right over here, or the little nipple, whatever you call it. It's right over here to the side. It's indented a little bit, which I really didn't like at first, but I found out that it doesn't bother me. One of the things with the Powermatic I didn't show you is, if the crank is down, if the lever is down, you can't put a tube on, because it's got a little thing on the side that holds the paper of the tube so it can stuff the cigarette, and it doesn't release until you lift the crank. But this, it doesn't do that. You can go ahead and put it on, put your tobacco in, and we're doing kings here, so we're ready to go. Just stuff it. You use this thing, push it down in there like so. Just, not really hard. Just tamp it in, and instead of a crank or a lever or whatever, you just push this thing down. Really simple. I mean, there's no effort to it whatsoever. Pushed a little out the end there, like the first one I did on the Powermatic. Like I said, you do really got to get used to each machine. Tamp it down a little bit, and you got a perfect cigarette all the way to the filter. This thing never fails me. It does jam, but in my opinion, you just saw the Powermatic jams a little bit more. So there's one, and like I said, we can do this faster. It's just in the position I'm in, and trying to record this thing. It's not. There's no point in trying to do a speed stuff in video. Usually takes me. I usually do. I got some zigzag cases, and I got like a little tin canister that holds perfectly 3 packs. So I've got 4 cases in the can, so I usually do about 7 packs at a time. It takes me about a half an hour to 40 minutes, somewhere around there. It's no big deal at all. Okay, we messed that one up somehow. I don't even know what happened there, but I feel like I'm being cursed because I'm trying to do a video. Let's try that again. It happens. You're gonna lose tubes. Every now and then you're gonna find that a tube gets torn, but these things are so cheap. They're like a penny a piece. We're having a problem here getting the tube on. Okay, there's a piece of paper in there I did not see. What in the world is happening here? Okay, there we go. Goodness gracious. Okay, so let's put a little tobacco in there, and you can, this thing's got a built-in hopper, as you can see, and you can fill that thing all the way up if you want. But for the sake of the video, we're just doing it real simple. We're only doing a few. Perfect. Look at that. All the way. Perfectly packed all the way down. Tamp it down a few times, and you got a perfect stuffed cigarette every time with the Poweroll 2. Okay, now 100s. Let's put these over here. Now on the back of this thing, there is a little, little thing. You pull it out, right? And what that does is, let me dump this so you can see what I'm talking about. What that does is it removes, like on the Top-O-Matic crank machine, there's a little piece of metal you can put on there for hundreds versus kings, and this thing's got one built into it. See, when you push that down, right there, see? Makes room for 100s. Like I said, normally I don't put paper down, and it's messing me up a little bit, but so you can see what's going on here, I figured we need paper. Okay, so let's do a couple hundreds. Demonstrate. Now, see, the little pointy end is for kings, as it says, and then hundreds. So we're gonna use the big, the fat end. So same thing, tamp it in. Not real tight. You don't want to do it too tight because it will jam. Put your tube on. You see how crinkled that is? It doesn't matter. I'm gonna fill it anyway. And there you go. Perfect. Perfect 100. Look at that. All the way to the filter. One of the problems I had with the Top-O-Matic is that I never could get 100s right. The Top-O-Matic crank machine. Never did necessarily feel all the way. I could get it, but then it was a really tight smoke. And this is perfect, as you can see. This thing does hundreds perfect every time. And I almost gave up on hundreds until I got my Poweroll here, because I couldn't find a machine that would properly stuff 100. This one is perfect for hundreds. I'm telling you, if you smoke hundreds and you're looking for an electric, this is the one you want. The Powermatic II does hundreds just fine, but every now and then you get that gap at the filter. So you stuff it in there, not too tight, and boom. Perfect. 100. All the way to the filter. I would tear this open and show you just to prove it to you, but I'm a miser. I'm not going to waste any money showing you that, but it's perfect, as you can see, all the way up. Perfectly stuffed cigarette. I like the Golden Harvest filters, like I said. My favorites are probably the Zens, but you can get these Golden Harvest ones here. There's a grocery store about a mile away, sells them locally. So that's perfect for me. I don't order enough online normally, but I usually go to the Golden Harvest when I run out of my Zens. So the Poweroll 2 is a really good machine. I like it. I have no problem with this machine at all. It's my go-to machine. This is the one I've been using. I use the Powermatic for about a month, and I still use it every now and then just to, give this one a little bit of a break. But this is my go-to. Like I said, the Top-O-Matic crank is the most popular cigarette stuffer out there. Most people use that. It doesn't require electricity. In fact, that's what I was looking for. I was gonna, I gave my Top-O-Matic to my buddy. So I was like, I might as well go ahead and buy another one as backup. And I found this cheaper than the crank machine, so I went ahead and got it. Now I have two electrics. And, well, I still got this thing. If I have to go back to it, if the zombie apocalypse happens, then you always got your handhelds. I might end up getting a crank down the road just so I can have a backup for my backup. I'm like that. I'm real paranoid of things breaking down. But there are also instructional videos online, especially for the Powermatic 2 and 2 Plus, how to fix them and how to get in there. And if they start, slowing down on you, you can get in there and clean them out. They show you how to get your, make them work like new again. But if the motor goes out, the motor goes out. This thing on the bottom has a little tray, little area. You can pop that off, and you can see it's got a grate. And if you shake it, you're going to get a lot of tobacco out. And you want to do that like every 2 or 3 times you use the thing. So I think this keeps it from, like the Powermatic 2, you can't do that. The tobacco is just going to build up in there until you take it apart. You don't have to take this one apart. You just open that thing up, shake it out, and you're good to go. I haven't seen any videos on how to take this thing apart. I don't know if you need to ever take it apart. I'm not going to try to until, it comes to that. And this is, as well, really easy cleanup. You get your brush, clean it out. It's good to go. I'll keep mine in the boxes. This Poweroll comes with a box for your adapter and a box for your accessories. I keep it all together because I'm OCD like that. So bottom line, I like the Poweroll 2 better than the Powermatic 2 Plus. It's a really close race. The Powermatic 2 Plus is a great machine. If that's what you got, booyah, because it's one of the best machines out there. If you got a Top-O-Matic crank machine, it's good. I haven't tried the Powermatic manual machine. Has a crank on it too, but it's a lever crank. I haven't tried that, but I've heard it's pretty good. It's made out of plastic, whereas the Top-O-Matic is all metal. So I'm not really sure about that. But I've heard it was, you know, that's a really good machine too. It's about the same price as the Top-O-Matic crank. The Poweroll 2 is a little bit more expensive than the Powermatic 2 Plus on the smoker sites and at your, you know, smoke shops. But like I said, I got both of these on eBay for, well, the Powermatic I got for less than half price. This one was right at half price. So like I said, I got 2 of these electric machines for the price of 1. And this one actually was more of a gift because I used a gift card that my niece and nephew got me for Christmas. So this was actually free for me. I'm not saying get one of these on eBay used because you might be buying somebody else's problem. I don't like buying electronics on eBay used, but these were open box. They didn't appear to be used at all to me. If they were cleaned very well. They work great. Okay, so I was finalizing and summarizing whatever, and my battery died in my camera. So I am such an amateur videographer. I did not prepare very well for this video, but you know, editing. I'm gonna open this thing up in something. Adobe, whatever you call it, and try to fix it up. But so to summarize again, the Powermatic 2 Plus cigarette injector is a great machine. I know it jammed a couple of times just now that was pretty much my fault. I was stuffing it a little bit too hard because I hadn't used it in a while. You'll get used to it. It does really good, but this one is better in my opinion. The Poweroll 2 is the better injector. You use the little plastic thing instead of your fingers, which I don't know. A lot of people use the Top-O-Matic, are probably going to be used to the finger thing, and this does use the finger thing. This is the little tray I was telling you didn't come with it. I don't need it. It's supposed to catch your cigarettes. Who cares? I didn't need that. This thing comes with, they both come with, you know, the accessories and everything, but if you buy them new, but I didn't need all that stuff, so it didn't really matter to me. I like the Poweroll 2 better than the Powermatic 2. Powermatic 2 Plus is a great machine. Poweroll 2, in my opinion, is the perfect electric machine. If you're going for electric, I would go for the Poweroll 2. If you don't need electric, go with the Top-O-Matic crank. If you have a handheld injector, throw it away. You'll save yourself so much pain and suffering. If you just, you know, throw it out, get rid of it. It's no good. It's not good for you. It'll just make you nervous and frustrated, and it might burn your house down, and nobody wants that. I've never had a cherry fall off with either one of these. I've never had any problems stuffing all the way to the filter. Okay, my battery's about to die again, so we're gonna say c'est la vie, farewell, and if I have something else to review, I'll do another terrible crappy video, but I'm gonna charge my battery next time, so it will be continuously crappy. Alright, party on.